And welcome back. Our guest is David Perry, good friend, and you've been what they call in the tipping point a maven. You know what a maven is?
Yes.
Maven collects people.
Yeah.
They're so critical to commerce and to the arts and so on. And you've provided us so many wonderful artists in San Francisco that's been an education for me.
Oh,
and of course, my heart goes out to them because they're all competing with each other. And it's expensive to go out to a live production. And it grows and it grows. And there's schools like Academy of Art that they're continuing to produce quality, talented people. How do they all, where's this all going to go? And how do people keep track? How do you keep track of all the diverse acts?
Yeah. Well, it's hard. You know, what you said, being a maven. The Tipping Point is, of course, an amazing book. If I had one book to give any of my clients or colleagues to read, it would be that. And one of the things they talk about in that book are connectors, people who put people together. And I think more and more that's what it takes to promote anything, especially the arts. Not say, I want you to come and see this one thing only this one time, but to connect people to a network, which is exactly what the internet has done. We now have the ability for a small arts venue somewhere in the Mission or Soma with maybe a regular audience of 40, 50 people to instantly have access to, literally without exaggeration, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions through the internet at no cost or low cost. So where is it going? The impact of technology on the arts in this city and internationally is only going to continue at an exponential rate. I mean, we now have so much more access to technology here in San Francisco than we did a year ago when we first talked, that it's really breathtaking.
Okay, and I do want to talk about that technology and how it could impact and help the young artists and the dance groups and the music groups and so on. What you do, and you've won awards for promoting small arts professionally, and I guess you do a lot of pro bono work.
We always have a number of pro bono clients because, you know, people come to me and say, what do you charge? And I always say, I'm not trying to dicker with you. What's your budget? And if that budget is nothing, then okay, I'll tell you what you can do for nothing. If it's this much, I'll tell you what you can do for that. You know, you ask me, how do we keep up? I lecture on a regular basis to arts groups, especially performing arts groups, and my new opening sentence is, give yourselves a break. There is no way to keep up. There's no possible way to keep up with the march of technology.
Okay.
So you do the best you can, and you read a lot, and you have conversations like this.
You have some centers, the Yerba Buena Center, which you were involved with. These become arenas for the diverse arts of San Francisco. There are other arenas. What are some of the other arenas?
Well, you mentioned a really good one that I think, talking about something that really came of age in 2006. I was there literally when they rolled out the lawn for Yerba Buena in 1992-93. And 2006 was the year that neighborhood really became a part of San Francisco with the opening of Yerba Buena Lane, this symbolic and physical link between north of Market and south of Market. And once the Museum of Craft and Folk Art opened, along with that lane connecting it to Yerba Buena and MoMA and whatnot, there is now a sense that Yerba Buena is a real part of the city. And what it has is, yes, there are wonderful arts institutions there, but it provides a place for people to come. Because I think more and more, people don't go to see specific artists or art groups or art experiences. They go to have a communal experience. And Yerba Buena is one of those places that does it. I think Golden Gate Park still does it. Places that provide free venues.
What
for
about,
the arts.
though, some of these large groups like Theater Rhinoceros and others that have huge stages that they're renting out? Those are destination Magic Theater and so on. Those are destination locations. How are they doing? Those who have to have a following and have to have endowments, have to have donors, because of they're in that mid-product between the opera and small arts.
Well, it's challenging. I mean, you mentioned, too, ACT and Magic, which last year celebrated 40 years here in San Francisco. That's incredible. That's an incredible milestone any way you look at it. But it is becoming harder and harder to attract audiences to come down and plunk down $20 to $50 a ticket for ACT to Magic, then pay for parking. Used to be free at Fort Mason. It's no longer free.
That's right.
I mean, for anyone to go out and engage in the live performing arts now, it is easily a $60 to $100 per person experience. Well, if I had my choice to do that or stay home and play a video game or watch something on YouTube or read a book, I think nowadays people may stay
By the way, as we go to production, Netflix is introducing downloadable movies this week. as an experiment with a couple 100,000 people, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. But before we go there again, I want to go back. So that what you're saying, you said there's people who want to go and get kind of a communal experience, okay? And yet then there are the loyal followers of the Magic Theater, of AC2, who love drama and so on, and love symphony or whatever. Are you saying then that these two groups, they have to go the traditional route of having endowments and donors and get people into theater, but this other group doesn't necessarily have to worry about that anymore?
No, you have to do a little bit of both. I mean, traditional groups like the opera, the symphony, the ballet, the large theater groups, they have a core following that is aging. I don't know of any client I had last year in the performing arts didn't say to me at some point, how do I attract younger audiences? We were talking before we started about how you and I are of a generation that if we said we wanted to have a live theater experience, we knew we had to get dressed up, put on a tie, and go out somewhere.
It was part of that.
It was part of that. And now there is a generation for whom that experience is foreign. We have to convince them that it is worth cutting off their iPod, putting on a different set of clothes, getting in their car or whatever, and going out of their home to experience the arts. It has switched, and I think 2006 was the year that large arts institutions finally saw that penny drop and went, wow, we better change the way we do art or we're not going to be around.
All right, now let's explore that a little bit more. Am I understanding to say that you have to convince people that there's a difference between downloadable iPods, MP3 music, versus live jazz versus an MP3 version?
Yes.
Even this program, luckily this program's television, so if you watch it on Google, it doesn't make too much difference, does it?
No. Listen, and you raised the exact point. The answer is yes. Do I think that generation has to be convinced of that? You're right. I mean, a lot of my clients are probably watching this going, oh, well, there's so much difference between a live performance and something on iPod. You and I sense that, but we're of a certain generation. Someone in his teens or her teens, 20s, even early 30s is going to say, why would I do that? I can download it here. And the arts in San Francisco is so rich and has such a tie-in to the political structure and societal structure of the city that this is a seismic shift. This isn't just a few arts organizations saying, oh, well, we have to use technology to build new audience. There are major institutions in this town that are part of the fabric of San Francisco that need to find a new way to present art.
Okay, but what you're saying is you're not opposing completely the extension of performance into Web 2 type formats. But you do agree, if I understand, we do agree that in the end, it still has to be a live performance if you got to still promote that.
Yeah, I think people still want, in the same way, we love seeing the Olympics because there's this sense of, I'm not on that tightrope or I'm not on that balance beam at the moment, but I'm with that person live wherever they are, and my heart is with them while they're engaging in this high.
Well, wait a minute, David, that's a good point. Let's talk about the sports element there. Wouldn't you say that you can't and you don't necessarily have to be at a live event to get the excitement on a flat TV of sports events? But when you're talking about a dance group with the drums and the energy and the excitement from the audience, that can't be captured with downloadable video and sound.
No, but I tell you, I bet you in who knows how many years it's going to be, but I think we're going to see in 10 years, I'm not a prophet, but holographic technology is going to make live performing arts available in ways we can't even conceive of now. So what I am saying is, though, I think it behooves large groups to think of ways that are non-traditional, to stop thinking
so
about
what you're
ways
saying,
to get people
they can have
into
both,
theaters.
is what you're saying.
Yeah.
In other words, they'll still be the live performance. They'll still be the patrons who pay. But you can expand this now internationally.
Absolutely.
A small group can become an international group.
Absolutely.
And you're encouraging that.
Absolutely. There's 70,000 new videos uploaded to YouTube every day. You know, I've been saying that this last issue of Time magazine, The Person of the Year is You, is one of the most important magazines I've ever read. I'm asking all of my clients and friends to get back issues and read it, because we now are in an on-demand world. It's no longer the time where we open a paper and say, oh, I want to go see this. We now say to our art producers, I want to see this, and I want you to provide it to me in this way, in this format, at this time.
So we also know that from the YouTube experience that you asked the question, you have to ask the question, if there's 70,000 being uploaded, well, let's say how many small, decent, real, legitimate art groups are there in San Francisco?
Oh, hundreds. I mean, San Francisco is considered the quote-unquote second city for dance. There are more dancers and dance companies here than any city except New York.
Take a stab how many, even at the very earliest stage of their development.
Oh, there are easily 50 or 60 professional dance companies in San Francisco,
That's
from
just
small
dance
to large,
groups.
just dance groups. Then you have theater groups. Then you have individual artists, literature in San Francisco, writers, producers of art books, painters, filmmakers, and also what we were talking about before, technology-based artists. Let's not forget that Google and YouTube and all that started here. And I believe, and I really push, that technology-based arts are just as vital and vibrant as legitimate as more traditionally based.
Of course,
arts.
that would be blending anyway under the scenario we're talking about. So, what I gather is, I mean, when you see YouTube and you wonder how do the various videos become popular, okay? Because if you have so much data, like 70,000 uploads a day, how does that happen? Well, it's working itself out, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
These young groups that you're talking about, say the 70 dance groups in San Francisco, if they manage to use that, you're saying they could build their following.
Of course they can.
Could they generate income to survive?
Well, you know, that's the great new verb. How do we monetize, I think the phrase is, things online? How do you make money? Well, you first of all build an audience. You have to reach people in a way that convinces them that what you do is worthwhile, to either get to them to fund you, underwrite you, buy tickets to what you do. You know, Andy Warhol said that in the future everyone will be famous for 15 minutes. What they say now through YouTube is, in this generation, everyone is famous to 15 people online. So what you need to do is build on those 15 people you've met through YouTube or online or various viral marketing techniques and build a community. So I'm not saying that it's the end for the performing arts, quite the opposite.
No, we've agreed that the live performance will continue to be a very special event.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
If you're lucky to live in San Francisco, to see one of these groups.
Well, we're lucky also in that San Francisco is still physically small enough for people to get to a live event in any one part of town.
We didn't get to your list of, we have maybe a minute to, what personally, when you look back at 2006, what are, 1 minute, really memorial?
I'll give you two things. One was a book, which wasn't really art-based, the book that was written about the Bush White House. I think that was incredible because we saw an old technology, a book, become the major media story of the year. And the other here in San Francisco was the Monet in Normandy exhibit at the Legion. That to me is, without playing favorites, San Francisco's most beautiful museum, totally unique to San Francisco. And here was...
Okay, but I'm going to pin you down. Of the small artists, the ones that are less known, what is the most memorable experience you had? 30 seconds.
The Caruso concert in Yerba Buena Gardens. 1,000 people came on the anniversary of the earthquake, San Francisco's kind of modern birthday, to sing, have a free experience in Yerba Buena Gardens, and celebrate this city's
That's
arts
a classic of what we've been talking to you about.
That you couldn't have anywhere else.
Continue to give us tips on great artists and dancers and so on in San Francisco.
Well, thank you.
David Perry. And thank you for joining us. And we'll see you next time.